My sincere greeting to all of you and genuine apologies for not being able to join you for the live session this morning due to some internet issues and technical difficulties. Yesterday we heard that if we want to give up our lower base habits and our negative attachments, we have to hang on to something that is higher than ourselves. That something higher is the cultivation of our positive habits, a very meaningful sense of purpose, and a very deep spiritual connection. All of these give us a sense of inner fulfillment, which thus empowers us to tackle and deal with our habits and attachments. Here's our reflection for today. I remember when I was a university student, one day I was at home preparing for exams. My mother had made amazing lunch. I left my studies to take lunch and ate to my heart's satisfaction, practically up to my neck, full up to my neck. And then I went back to my studies, trying to focus. The subject being interesting, I was trying to grasp the content that I was reading, only until my attention was diverted by a jar that was sitting on a shelf very close to where I was studying. The contents of the jar were very interesting. There were 4 cream rolls in there. I hope you know what a cream roll is. It is a puff pastry cone stuffed with whipped cream and jam. In the UK they call it a cream horn, in the USA a lady lock, in some parts of Europe like Austria they call it a sham roll. But like it is said, a rose by any name would smell as sweet, and a cream roll by any name would probably taste as sweet and as great. So as I saw the cream rolls in that jar, my mind was yelling and crying to go and get one. Mind you, I was already full with lunch. I tried to justify that I just had lunch and I'm full. I need to focus on my studies and I can always eat it later. But the mind just created a ruckus. And finally I gave in. I went to the jar, picked up one of the cream rolls, had it, it was amazing, and came back to study. Guess what? I couldn't focus. My tongue in collaboration with the mind wanted a second. I tried not to get up, but ended up going to the jar, taking a second one, and then a third one, and a fourth one. And I finished all the 4 cream rolls in that jar that afternoon. And this is after a full lunch. I realized that the mind is exactly like a child. Haven't we seen a child who wants something, starts crying, starts creating a ruckus, starts creating a scene because it wants it? And I don't even think there's anything wrong giving the child what it wants if what he or she wants is harmless. The problem is not that we don't want to give it to the child. The problem is that if we give it to the child at the child's terms, the child becomes stubborn, obstinate, demanding, feels entitled, and gets pampered. So if it's a harmless thing, there's no problem giving it to the child. But we should give it to the child at our terms. If the child is focused, being obedient, studying properly, then we give it to the child as a reward if the thing is harmless. The mind is exactly like the child, creates a ruckus, demands what it wants. And if we give it to the mind at its terms, the mind becomes stubborn, obstinate, pampered, cannot listen to a no for an answer, distracts us from what we are doing, and the nature of the mind then becomes to be, I want what I want, when I want, how I want, where I want, and it doesn't matter if I have to keep something else aside to get what I want. Now, this was the problem that happened that afternoon. A cream roll is after all a harmless thing. I didn't have any high sugar then, there was not obese, no health issues, so eating one cream roll is not a big deal after all. It wasn't the cream roll. It was giving in to the mind and making it stubborn, obstinate, and pampered. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not just about the harmless things, is it? Many times it's the harmful things as well. The mind cries and yells for those harmful things. And that's what we are talking about in our 21 days habit challenge. Our bad habits, isn't it? The mind just wants to go towards those things and indulge in those things that are harmful, and the mind wants it right then, distracts us from what is important and makes us go and do what's harmful and self-destructive. Haven't we felt this in our lives, that we want to, say something immediately? We don't like somebody, we don't like that something's happening, and we want to right away say it. The mind is saying, say it now. We feel anger and frustration in our heads, and the mind is yelling, you yell at the person right now. And it's destructive for ourselves and for our relationships, both. This is why a very important, crucial element is to not to pamper the child. Good parenting is about not pampering the child. Good parenting is not giving anything harmful to the child. Would you give anything harmful to your child? No. Then why are we giving anything harmful to our minds? And if it's something harmless, even that we give to the child at our terms, not at the child's term, making it obstinate and stubborn. Similarly, if we have to reward our mind with something that's harmless, a cream roll in my example, we would do it at our terms, not at the mind's terms. We don't want to become slaves to our minds. We want to make the mind our slave and keep it under our control. How do we deal with it? I many times say we don't even have to say a no to our mind. We probably just need to say a wait to our mind. I'm not saying no, just do it later. I'm not saying no to a cream roll, it's harmless. Let's finish our studies and eat it later. What I'm doing in the course of doing this is I'm training my mind not to be pampered. I'm training my mind that things are not going to essentially go by your terms. Things are going to go by my terms. You can't enslave me. I'll try to enslave you and keep you, or shall I say not enslave, I'll try to keep you under my control. And therefore, I think we don't have to say a no to the mind. And if it's something harmful, again, don't say a no right away. Just learn to say a wait. Not to say that we'll give the mind what is harmful, but we'll postpone what is wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, in dealing with the mind, learn how to postpone what is wrong and prioritize what is right. Focus right now and prioritize on what is right. And postpone what is wrong. When it comes to doing right, I remember this very popular doha by Kabir ji. He said, Kal kare so aaj kare so abhi, pal mein parlay ho jayega, bahuri karega kabhi. What you have to do tomorrow, do it today. And what you have to do today, do it now, because we never know what will come out to be later. So when it comes to doing right, this is what we should follow. And when it comes to doing wrong, we should follow the other side of this doha. आज करे सो कल करे सो परसों, अभी इतनी जल्दी क्या है, जब पड़े है बरसों. If you want to do it today, do it tomorrow. And if you have to do it tomorrow, postpone it to the day after tomorrow. After all, we have a long life ahead. What's the hurry in doing that wrong thing? So when it comes to doing the right, prepone it, prioritize it, do it now. When it comes to do the wrong, postpone it to tomorrow, to day after tomorrow. Keep postponing the wrong to such an extent that the mind will be fed up and will say, I don't want to do this wrong any longer. And therefore the reflection that I want to leave all of you with today is, try to prioritize the right and do it now, and try to postpone the wrong and keep saying a wait to your mind. Don't say a no, we'll do it. Just wait, tomorrow, to such an extent that one day the mind will say, enough of this tomorrows, I don't want to do this any longer. Thank you all very much, and looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Thank you. Hare Krishna.